Sunday. Allegiant Stadium is going to be a mud pit. Sorry, I always wanted to do voiceovers for monster trucks. Gravedigger. Sunday, Allegiant Stadium, it will be the Gold Cup final, USA-Mexico. It is the seventh time we've had this final. People are under the impression that we get this final every year. That is not true. This is the second time in a row, but it's the second time in the last 5. Prior to that, Jamaica made a final twice, Panama made a final. So you don't get this all the time. And people go, well, as you expected. No one expected this to go this way. Certainly from the U.S. perspective because of the roster that they brought. But also Mexico look very flawed. And Tata Martino, in his press conference, even said that we have not played a 90-minute game. So we're going to get into the preview. I want to give you full transparency here. I have an obligation. Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time till 1:30, I am calling Combate Global, MMA. Check it out on Paramount+. At the conclusion of that, I'm going to try and catch the 2:30 flight out of LAX to Las Vegas. I just got to catch that flight. I think I can make it. I don't live far from the airport. And then I'll watch the game. I'll do some reports, do the podcast, check out the Soccer OG podcast. Then I'm in Vegas. I'm going to have a little bit of fun too. But I'll catch up to a lot of people. So stay tuned for that. I will document it if I make the flight on my social media. I'll make it. I always make it a flight. This is the Soccer OG. Yeah. I always love that one. And then they always go like this, like Arnold. And then he did the back to show the traps. USA-Mexico. So many developments. It's about 32 days since they played the Nations League final in Denver. This is Las Vegas. Scream for me, West Coast. Even though Denver is technically the Mountain Time Zone. You know, the U.S. men's national team have scheduled games for World Cup qualifiers in Nashville, Austin. They also had a game in Columbus, Ohio, and Cincinnati, Ohio. I think we've saturated the Ohio market. And I can say that. I was born in Ohio. Fun fact. I think it's time to do well with the West Coast. Denver put its best foot forward. Granted, it was USA-Mexico. And I think Las Vegas will show that the West Coast is the best coast. So get some love out here, USA Soccer. Let's get some games out here. Here it is, USA-Mexico. It wasn't easy as they made the final. The United States allowed one. Oh, by the way, excuse me, where are my manners? Please subscribe to the Soccer OG. Subscribe. Hit that button right now. Let's get to 2,000 followers. It's incredible. This is a slow burn. I've been doing this a long time, but we're starting to see you guys are digging what I do. I'm feeling comfortable in what I do. And let's do it together. Spread the word. So the United States and Mexico both been very defensively stout. Have both allowed just one goal in the 5 games to get to this point. The United States close. They were going to get knocked out. They won their group. Mexico won their group. USA beat Jamaica. Beat Jamaica and then beat Qatar. Never trailed. So you can't really say their tournament was in peril at any point. Mexico, same thing. Although, as I said in my last video, I really believe the United States have a great shot at this. There's no pressure. And Mexico escaped El Salvador. Mexico were outplayed for long stretches against Canada. And Canada's going to show you a way to beat this Mexico team. So the U.S. On house money by making this final, because I think, as I said, there is no guarantee for them to make the Gold Cup final. Mexico's won 8 Gold Cups. USA has won 6. I think one thing we've discovered in this edition, which makes it really interesting, Canada's going to win one of these soon. They're developing so many good players. They're going to take it really seriously. They are going to win a Gold Cup. At the very least, make a final. So Mexico, USA, putting it in ink in your bracket, you can't do that because Canada is going to provide a wrinkle. Good players, good young players, and it's just continuing to churn. So USA have a real good shot. Let's get into some of the interesting aspects here, and certainly we'll get into who do you play if you're Greg Berhalter. But one development in the press conferences earlier in the weekend, Greg Berhalter came out and said that you've got to be very leery. There's these episodes of Mexican players putting their hands on the necks in Canada. It happened when they played in the Nations League. He put a line in the sand for the referees, which is very calculated. There's no doubt about it from Greg Berhalter. I like to think you get these opportunities to challenge the referees once in a blue moon. You can't do it all the time because you'll sound like an idiot. But you have to come in there and push it. And this is a perfect time for Greg Berhalter to do that. And here is why the refereeing are going to have their hands full, the lead official, the assistants, the VAR official, CONCACAF, everything. You see, there is a massive subplot in this game, and Allegiant Stadium is going to be packed to the brim. It's going to be a Las Vegas event. But the subplot is the chant. We're going to hear the chant. How does CONCACAF, how does the Mexican Federation respond? So we have seen this. They haven't been crystal clear as to the ultimate punishment. They say, we'll stop the game. Well, stopping the game is becoming a real nuisance. We can't either punish, or what is the old expression about emptying your bowels, right? You know, either do it or get off the can. That's what I know. I butchered that. I should have prepared that in advance. But do something or stop bringing it up. And we live with the chant. And I'm fine with that, because if I was on Twitter with so many people and they all brought up the cultural parts of it, and I get it. It offends some people, and I just think it's something I just want it away so we can focus on the game. It's just people being dumb in the stadiums. But if CONCACAF's going to slap you on the wrist, unless they do something severe, then this is not going to be resolved. So one or the other, what's it going to be? A, disqualify Mexico, give the U.S. a penalty, take a player off the field. I don't know what it is, but you can't just do this little stop the game, because no one wants it. The other option is ignore it, which I'm not against either at this point, because it ain't working. The reason I bring that up, the referees are going to have their hands full with that. So Greg Berhalter applying some more pressure. They have to keep an eye on the Mexican physicality. Berhalter says we like to play a physical game, but sometimes Mexico, whether it's true or not, and you could say the Canadians started that whole ruckus based on the video, still, the referees have to acknowledge it. Great gamesmanship by Greg Berhalter, if you ask me, who's stock doing very well. I really believe, if they win another trophy, and then they come in September with all their A-listers ready and fresh, this worked out perfectly for the U.S. Forget the Olympics. This is a big spot. Even if they lose this game, Mexico has to win this. The Nations League was a bitter pill, and Tata Martino's feeling the pressure. The Mexican team's doing well in the Olympics, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the big picture of things. Mexico have to get a result here to really be able to maintain their position as number one in the region. Otherwise, it all falls the USA's way. It even might, depending on how it goes. It's going to be a defensive game. A key player for Mexico for me is Edson Alvarez. He can man that midfield, and I think he's the guy that can connect the lines. We talk about Hector Herrera. I think Edson Alvarez is the more talented guy at this point. He could be a game changer. Mexico's played with a back four. They've played with a back three. I think they go with a back four here because Canada exploited the back three with their fullbacks, Larea, and Tasia Buchanan was a little further up, but the wide players. USA, I don't know if they have the same level of wide players, but they should exploit it. They have depth. It's certainly in a position for the U.S. It could be a scoreless game. It's not going to be pretty. This tournament hasn't been pretty. So we get into this situation about who is going to play. And Greg Berhalter, as we've said in the past, has given the young players the responsibility. It's been wonderful. Daryl Dike and Gianluca Busio. Daryl Dike has not been right in this tournament. There's no way he should start. I understand having a bench that has a pop, and they had it with Christian Roldan and Eric Williamson and Nico Gioacchini and Jossie Zardes coming off the bench, Reggie Cannon. and really providing a spark. That could bode well for the U.S., but you can't have a player who's going to give you nothing. He's just not in the game. You can't afford those long stretches. So Gyasi Zardes really should start this game. I'd be shocked. I said he should have started the last game. I was pretty much right. Gianluca Busio. This is a game where you want to be a little more uncompromising in that midfield. So Christian Roldan, who's had a great tournament, seems to me as the guy who comes in. Maybe Kellen Acosta drops back a bit. I just don't know how you can put Busio in this situation, especially for a young player. The young players have had their chance. I could say they helped get them to this point. That's not really the case. Others have played a bigger role. But I think that's it. The other one is Reggie Cannon comes in. Shaq Moore started every game. I don't see why you don't start him. Fullbacks are going to be huge here. But I think Zardes and Roldan are my picks to come into the 11. A lot in the favor of the U.S. They got the better goalkeeper, Alfredo Talavera, a little older in the tooth. So if it gets to penalties, Matt Turner's proven to be, he's the player of the tournament, I think, right? Player of the tournament? I think after this final, it'll be hard to deny if the U.S. get the result. Matt Turner is unwavering. He is going to be a big part of this game. But it's going to be a fantastic final. I hope to be there with you guys. If you're in Las Vegas, come by and say hello. The Soccer OG taking care of business. And we'll have a good time. And my prediction, let's go with USA in penalties, 1-1 after 120 minutes. And they get the Gold Cup. What a summer. Then get out and enjoy your summer. Did I cover everything? I always do this. Eric Williamson, I want to say, he's going to have to feature in here at some point. He looked really good the way he came in. And we'll see. We shall see. Subscribe. Check out the Soccer OG podcast. I will have one right at the end of the game as well. Live from Las Vegas.